don't like it is.
Yeah, that's right. Now, bad news for those of you out there who don't want to be killed by bacterial superbugs. Scientists are once again worried about the rise of bacterial superbugs. In related news, though, we've got good news for those of you out there who do want to be killed by bacterial superbugs.
Fresh concerns over antimicrobial resistance abound after the Medical Journal of Australia expressed deep alarm following the recent death of an American woman. The woman was thought to have contracted a nightmare superbug after being hospitalised in India after breaking her thigh. Upon returning to the States, her infection resisted treatment from 26 types of antibiotics, and she died from septic shock.
This case was certainly alarming, but it wasn't surprising because we've been seeing superbugs resistant to many classes of antibiotics for many years now.
And it's got Australian medical professionals freaking out that it might be a sign that our dream run with antibiotics is coming to an end. Antibiotics are still our best medicine against bacterial infections, but the more we use them, the more chances we give bacteria to mutate and become resistant, resulting in superbugs. Australians should be concerned about this because, oh boy, we take a gutful of them. The latest numbers show around 46% of Australians were prescribed antibiotics each year, and it's thought that in many cases they were not necessary.
Antibiotic prescribing rates in Australia are amongst the highest in the OECD countries. We need to ensure we only use antibiotics when absolutely necessary.
And just like superbugs, pharmaceutical companies are themselves quite resistant to developing antibiotic medicine because new drugs are expensive to make.
Any totally new class of antibiotics has to go through stringent laboratory tests. That takes somewhere between 7 to 10 years, and it costs around $700 million US.
So, are we all about to die? Just asking for a friend. I'm asking for all of them.
Joining us now to tell us why superbugs are super thugs is infectious diseases expert Dr. Sanjaya Senanayake. Sanjaya, I'm pretty much just assuming at this point that we are all going to die. Are we on the verge of antibiotics losing their effectiveness?
Well, it's already happened. From the moment antibiotics appeared, bugs started to become resistant. I guess it's just the scale at which it's happening that's the concern. So around 700,000 people are dying every year from antibiotic resistance. And if we don't change things, by 2050 that's going to be about 10 million people a year at a cost of $100 trillion.
So, Doc, why are Australians so obsessed with taking antibiotics? Is it prescription? Is it patient demand? What is it?
Well, you have to remember, now there was OECD data from about 6 years ago showing Australia came 8th out of 29 countries in terms of its antibiotic use. Now you have to remember some of that is appropriate antibiotic use to fight infections, but yeah, I think we could definitely do better. And the most common thing we talk about are the sore throats, which in 90% of cases are due to viruses, and where antibiotics aren't going to help. And the other things about antibiotics use, which people don't realise, in a country developed nation, say like the United States, 80% of the volume of antibiotics used are used not in humans, but in the animal industry. And of course that comes back to haunt us as humans because we eat meat and various other things.
Oh, this is all quite scary. And in the way you describe it, I don't really like our chances of reducing our antibiotic use. Would it be better, or is it possible for us just to discover and make other antibiotics that can deal with the superbugs?
Yeah, look, that's a great question. Now, part of it is related to the business of making antibiotics. So pharmaceutical companies, at the end of the day, are a business who want to make a profit. Now, if a pharmaceutical company discovers a drug to, treat a sore elbow or a sore knee, that's $1 million in the bank when they do that. But if they discover a new antibiotic, that's a $50 million loss. We're trying to address that and incentivize the drug companies to make more antibiotics.
So could any of us be carrying a superbug right now and not know it?
Look, absolutely. And I think, Waleed, you went to Asia for the holidays, didn't you?
Here we go.
Where are you going with this?
Sri Lanka.
People who go to Asia are 6 times more likely to return with a really resistant form of E. coli in their bowels. Now, it's not necessarily going to make them sick. The good news is in 6 months, 80% of the time, you'll have that Asian E. coli will have been replaced by the Australian E. coli.
I need the rest of the year off, don't I, Doc? That's what you said.